Welcome to Gen X Rated Tuesday edition. How we doing, Billy?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It finally stopped raining. The sun came out.
Oh, it's been really nice. Almost like I don't know, cool but warm in the sun.
Yeah. And today is May 6th. It's the 47th anniversary of my bar mitzvah.
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
How about that?
Pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that was a pretty big day that day.
Yeah. And pretty much everyone, all of the adults in our life that were there are gone now.
I think you're absolutely right about that.
Except
Sadly.
Aunt Nancy. She's still around.
Oh,
God
great.
love her.
Well, there's one.
She's awesome.
Thankfully, we still have her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's crazy. I guess it has been a long time. So if your grandfather was in his 70s at the point, or late 60s,
Well,
it'd be
yeah.
a miracle if he was alive.
That means I'm old, whether I want to face it or not.
That's all right. You look like $1 million. I don't know who you're kidding.
Oh, thanks. You're too kind.
If you want me to bring something disturbing up, I could just pop up with this face guy if you want, and then you'll feel.
Look at that neck.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, this guy's been really busy the last few days. Trumpy bear. I don't know if it's just cruelty or distractions, or he's just having fun with everybody. But he's come up with some real zingers of late.
I think he's demented.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that prefrontal cortex is disintegrating faster than anybody even thought. He's always been unhinged, but
Well, and you would think he'd have at least one handler, be it, like Jill Biden as they want to claim, or Ronald Reagan had his wife. Like, who's going to let this guy know? And is it even possible?
no, he doesn't have handlers. He has enablers. That's the whole thing about this regime. They're not here to defend the Constitution or uphold the Constitution. They are here to serve Trump and make whatever Trump wants to happen. That's what these people are doing. That's it.
It's really short-sighted, though, because first of all, he is only one man. He's only a third of the branches of our government, and look at his agenda. How could you fully support that other than you want to keep your job? It's insane.
Well, and it goes beyond wanting to keep your job. You want to profit. You want to gain power. You want to build influence in that. You want to make as much money as you can and gain as much power. I mean, these people, I'm not saying Marco Rubio was probably a very upstanding person, but he's not the creep that he's become.
Yeah.
Or at least he clearly was able to hide that side of himself. I mean, Pam Blondikai has probably always been a terrible human being.
Yeah.
But,
Hegseth, same thing.
Yeah.
Well, and they really, since he is demented or indifferent, however you want to look at it, these people have a lot of carte blanche to do what they want. I'm sure you saw that Hegseth, right after Trump went into office, grounded 11 flights that were loaded with aid for Ukraine. It just came out yesterday and this morning that the White House was completely caught off guard. They had no idea that he had done this. Artillery shells, other weapons. It was a verbal order, and all it really did was create confusion in D.C. as well as Kiev, because they didn't really know what was happening. These things were supposed to come. Turns out it was Hegseth. I mean, this is another fireable offense, but clearly he's going to stay there until October when it can be dug into a little bit deeper.
I just don't get it how that guy has a job. Why he even was picked in the first place, but
should we go down the list? Because Tulsa Gabbard is using one of the weakest passwords for her accounts. She uses it on her Gmail. She uses it on her Signal. She uses it on her government. Easily found.
Is it Tulsi 6969?
I'm not telling.
That's what you get when you hire somebody who was raised in a cult.
Yeah. It's just crazy because Kristi Noem was on today in front of Congress, and they just asked very simple questions about the Constitution. But she keeps coming back to weird answers, and then everybody has to reclaim their time. These are yes, no's. Can you respond? Will you support the Constitution? Do you, fall in line with what the laws say? It's really hard to get a yes, no from these people.
What was she dressed up as today? What was the
costume? You know what? She was dressed up as a congressperson today. Heavily made up, extensions to the hill, and a great little suit. Listen, it was nice to see her actually dressed like a person instead of some kind of character.
She is just some kind of character. I don't think there's a real person there. I think she is just a character. I mean, somebody that just likes to cosplay, and these are not serious people.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And then you look at the contrast in Mexico and what their president is doing down there. I mean, immensely popular, has an agenda similar but more aggressive than Biden's as far as like creating, in-country supply lines and bringing back industry, raising the minimum wage, lifting people out of poverty. She's enormously popular, and she's getting shit done. And she's, keeping Trump off balance too.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't really know what to do with her. I know that people are waiting on these 200 countries that we're dealing with, that Trump's got all these deals coming down the pike. Lutnick was talking about it again yesterday, but nobody's really seeing any results. I did see today that China, Japan, and South Korea put a joint venture together to take care of one another and avoid the U.S. With these tariffs. These tariffs are a problem.
We are being cut out of the circle, and our only allies are going to be North Korea and Russia. That's it. The rest of the world is walking away.
Maybe Turkey.
Maybe Turkey. Yeah.
Hungary, of course. They're the leaders of it all. We'll have to follow that. These tariffs are just not really helping. The markets will say they're stable, but the percentage of money that has been lost already is enormous.
Yeah.
So when they want to say, "Oh, we've had a big comeback in the markets," you've had a comeback from being, underwater 1,000 feet, so to speak.
Yeah, still drowning.
The Reserve Bank of Dallas, 60% of Texas business executives feel that the tariffs are negative. I wouldn't say that Texas is a real woke state. These people were very concerned. 5% of these business execs said that, yeah, they might consider bringing their manufactured product here. 55% said no. What we will do is pass it on to the consumer. It's a little cheaper for us.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to start reinventing it now. So, Trump's whole support of this is that anything can happen. I hope that fills you with confidence, because anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and it usually does. And most of the time, it's not good.
Well, he said it could be the greatest economy in the history of our country. Could be the greatest boom in history ever.
If you're already a billionaire, it's an amazing economy. You're buying on the dips. You're picking up all kinds of properties and assets. I mean, you're making money hand over fist if you're already a billionaire and you're on the inside. It's amazing for them, but for the rest of us, not so much.
Well, I think they need to slow down a little bit, because nobody's going to be able to afford to stay at these properties. As Trump, as we talked about, took away $4 off of federal minimum wage, there's not a whole lot left to be able to rent an Airbnb, maybe, or rented a hedge fund's home that they've purchased, a single family dwelling. We're really not looking out for the people, and I feel that that's the biggest issue. Is the red hats are accepting of this, even though they're right in the belly of this whole regime, killing the middle class.
Well,
this is
a cult.
us.
That's what people that are in a cult do. They march in lockstep and they follow the leader all the way down. And if it ends up drinking Kool-Aid in a jungle, then so be it. They really don't care.
Maybe shooting at a congressperson. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Well, I guess we'll see. I didn't see a whole lot of good news on the tariffs again today. Lutnick says there's a bunch in the works, but he doesn't really want to talk about it because that's Trump's thing. And you know him, he's such a exhibitionist, so to speak.
Lutnick says a lot of things, mostly untrue and batshit crazy.
For the most part. Bassett as well, he's worth a couple $100 million, so he just can't really answer yes/no questions. So the legislative branch is getting kind of frustrated because they have real questions that they would just like some simple answers to, and it's just not happening, which affects all of us, frankly. Instead, we're going to go and we're going to talk about things like, well, I guess maybe we should just jump right to it. Maybe you recognize this, Billy, and I hope you don't. That is.
Oh, that's where they're sending people in Louisiana, isn't it?
No. It's Alcatraz. There you go. Maybe that's a better picture.
Every time you have to get those tickets so far in advance. It's such a popular tour. You can't
Yeah.
just show up in San Francisco and book a tour of Alcatraz,
Now
which,
you can't take the ferry and you can go around it, but you're not going to be able to get off the boat.
yeah, no, it's not the same, but yeah, it's really popular. And so, yeah, now that President Pawpaw wants to turn it back into a functioning prison again because we need more law and order. You know what? I'd be fucking pissed. I want to go back out to San Francisco again, and I want to do that tour. It doesn't need to be a functioning prison. We have plenty of those. Just because he happened to watch it on a movie one night as he was falling asleep.
I will add it was on PBS, which he's trying to get rid of. So it's kind of ironic. That prison did close in 1963, largely because it was too expensive to operate. He talked about putting a couple $100 million into it because it's such a great symbol of America, strength and weakness. And he just rambled on and on about it.
It's a prison on a rock.
Yeah. Congress today did have several members of the Bureau of Prisons. And again, these answers don't always come really easy on the yes or no. So they asked them to raise their hands if any of them thought it was a good idea to reopen Alcatraz. No hands went up. So not a yes, no, but nobody was raising their hand to say, yes, this is a good idea. And these are the people to make sure prison conditions are good for the inmates, that they are getting quality, food, and they're not being tortured. So these are people that do care about who's being incarcerated, and they're saying a big fat no. It seemed really silly to me as well.
Yeah, nobody wants that. It's ridiculous. But again, this is a regime that seems to be dedicated to serving the dear leaders every whim, no matter how batshit crazy or insane it happens to be.
Yeah, I wanted to, along with his crazy speech, we'll put this up. This is, excuse me, the Hollywood sign. He talked about movie making. We're going to put 100% tariffs on foreign films. Let's bring movies back to California. Again,
how does that even work?
I don't know how you put tariffs on. I mean, there's streaming services. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. You're not going to see necessarily the whole, we filmed the movie on one lot. This isn't Blazing Saddles, as much as I love that movie. People want to look at different areas and put it into their films. Essentially, he's trying to just get rid of the international film community, period.
I don't even have a comment for that. That's so ridiculous and just so short-sighted. And frankly, it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Films are multifaceted, as we said. It's not just you're on the lot and you knock it out in 6 months. There's corporate investments in these films, not to mention they're filmed all over the world. I mean, you want the cinematography to be amazing. Well, that just can't be in one spot, depending on what the film is. We go overseas because of cheaper labor. I don't know if that sounds familiar, manufacturing or not.
Well, I mean, cities here in America, I mean, they give tax cuts to, as incentives to have filmmakers come and make movies. But here's the thing. If you look a little deeper, there's a darker side to this too. This is all about controlling the message and propaganda. I mean, the German film industry under Hitler and Goebbels produced nothing but state-sanctioned films. Everything either praised the dear leader or praised the German armed forces. So this is, on the surface, it looks like an old man in his bumbling fantasy of, bringing back the good old days. But if you dig a little deeper and maybe you pair it up with Stephen Miller's recent message about how we're going to indoctrinate, educate the kids to be patriotic.
Oh my God, yeah.
It looks pretty damn dark.
That's a great point. I didn't even really think about that. To the first thing you said, yes, there are movies that are made in New York, Georgia, Pennsylvania. I know Pittsburgh for a while had a great run, The Dark Knight. And they give them tax incentives to come here. They also put people to work. It also adds more interest, again, to the cinematography. They go after this by saying it's a national security threat because they feel like it's a concerted effort by other countries to make movies.
Yeah, well, to spread their message of peace and harmony and socialism or what have you, but we can't have that. This is America. Everything's got to be made in America, and it's got to, reflect the MAGA agenda. And that should disturb anybody and everybody, unless you're, in the cult.
For sure. And I'll just use the statement that he continues to say, ripping us off. Okay, everybody's ripping us off.
Says the guy who's ripping everybody off.
Oh my God, he's making money hand over fist. I did want to just put out a couple numbers on this. The US and Canada are the biggest single market for movies. I think at the box office, it was like $8.8 billion in the US and Canada. Seems amazing. That's a pretty good number in 2024. But the international community brought in $21 billion, almost 3 times what you're talking about the US and Canada. So I don't know that you're going to get a whole lot of traction when people are going to the movies, around the world and not just in the US and Canada.
Oh, yeah.
So doesn't seem like that's really going to help us either. But here we are. I mean, the whole theme today is going to be about taking things away and making things less safe for us. I have a laundry list of stuff that I'd like to go over just really quickly without getting too deep in some of these programs. But the park services are now ending air quality monitoring at all national parks.
We don't need that.
You know what? If it smells funny, many gases are silent killers, but don't worry about that. It's silent. You won't even know it hit you. The weird thing, and I won't talk about this other than to say they're talking about getting rid of HUD. It's $26 billion. HUD is the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Again, ripping us off. They've been ripping us off for years. I don't even know why these people think they need a place to live.
Yeah, they don't need a place to live. They're fine under a bridge or maybe in a work camp.
Yes. NIH, the National Institute of Health, they've cut staff 40%. Say goodbye to cancer research. Not a thing.
Oh, we don't need that.
That was not great. The NOAA, again, about weather, whether we're going to have weather balloons launched, whether we're going to monitor all around our country. One of the people that left there, one of the higher ups at the NOAA, said that there will be loss of life with these cuts. It's unavoidable. I think
we talked about that before. Galveston, Texas was devastated by a hurricane nobody saw coming in 1900. So, yeah.
A couple more Meals on Wheels, which we talked about the other day, which is 2.4 million seniors, not to mention 500,000 veterans that depend on it. The EPA staff, Environmental Protection Agency staff, has been cut 55%. The CDC has been cut 33%. Even NASA, 25%. But when you got the spaceman on your team, NASA's going to be okay.
Oh, yeah. Building his own space city, which is
Starbase.
Starbase. That's right, baby. It was
approved. I wonder what it took to get that approved is kind of my wonder.
I don't know. Probably a boatload of cash and a hand job.
I was thinking maybe an Omnimax or, promising something really great that people just can't get enough of. Nobody's going to say no to Musk if he's in a small town, crappy place to begin with. So I don't know. I guess we'll just wait and see. It sounds like a terrible idea. We did talk about this before, where companies tried to have their own little towns and do their thing, and it just never really worked out well.
Well, and especially in that industry, and what I read about this, I mean, he that record of safety and environmental protection is not good. Let's just say that, allegedly. Lots of accidents, lots of mishandling of things. Just, not really good. So if I would not be buying any land there. I might be looking to get the fuck out.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point. There's the NIOSH, which is the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. They've all been laid off. It was formed in 1970 for protecting workers from coal miners to firefighters. You can see on this graphic, you're looking at doctors, firefighters, farmers, sheet metal workers, construction workers. It's occupational safety and health standards that we used to find were important. They've been around, like I said, since 1970, and they do other things other than just testing the quality of the work site. They really do protect the workers. It's part of OSHA. It was a countrywide thing. So when the coal miners were having trouble with black lung in Morgantown, West Virginia, they went there. They did studies on it. They tried to find out how to make it safe. It wasn't something they could necessarily do, but maybe they could say, hey, get out from underground. It's killing you. That would be a safe place to start. Surveillance programs, 23 states. It wasn't something out of DC alone. It was whatever the needs of the workforce in that place, they came and they did studies. A couple examples. After the World Trade Center, and I'm not talking about 9/11, they went to see through studies how that affected people that were at ground zero at the time. Health impacts as to, I mean, that was a giant mess in its own right.
Yeah, and every year, Jon Stewart's got to go to Capitol Hill and battle for all of those first responders and people that are, getting sick and dying from it. Because Congress wants to sweep that under the rug. Well, why are we paying these people?
And he finally won until he lost, because they had the funding finally. And like you said, it took almost a decade, I believe, if not more. And then that went away pretty quickly. September 11th would be another one, as well as the COVID-19 workers. They had training programs for students to learn these things for the next generation to keep these workers safe. You would think now more than ever we would need that with climate change. We have extreme weather that workers are now dealing with, workforce violence. I mean, again, all these studies were something that were to help protect workers, and it just doesn't seem like that's a thing. I mean,
we're not too interested in that.
I mean, you have violence at work, one instance every 99 minutes.
Jeez.
That's a lot. I mean, you go to Home Depot and you see how many days since the last accident. You're hoping to see double digits, but not necessarily.
One.
Yeah, it was yesterday. We had the problem. So again, you take the park services that they're taking things away, the NIH, Meals on Wheels, the EPA, the CDC. I don't know what they're leaving for us, and I don't know how much savings we're getting out of this.
I don't think you're getting any savings. I mean, a safe workforce is a productive workforce, and a productive workforce is,
good for everybody.
Economically, yeah, it's good for everybody. It's economically advantageous. So I don't know what their end game is. It just looks like an effort to just hollow out the heart and soul of this country. I mean, everything that they're doing is counterproductive. Everything. None of these steps are doing anything to make people safer, wealthier, happier, more secure. I mean, so you're going to offer women $5,000 to have a kid? And I'm sure there's a disclaimer: white women only, please.
It's not enough.
Yeah, this is it's insanity. And every day you wake up and it's harder and harder to believe what is being done next. It's ridiculous. I mean, you've got, now that Trump's been turned on to crypto, the family's making money hand over fist there, attending crypto conferences in Qatar. In fact, Qatar is investing in another one of Trump's crypto scams. I mean, plans. It's just, the corruption is just so blatant. It's so in your face. And everything that they're doing is not, and I don't know how the MAGA cult people stay in that cult. Every damn day it's something different, and they just blindly follow. And if you voted for this and you feel bad, I don't feel bad for you. You know what? You can fuck right off. You should have known.
Yeah. Well, you were being told. You just didn't really care for it.
Yeah, because you thought it was going to affect somebody else, but now that it's come to affect you, well, that's a shame.
Well, and to that safety point, this right here is Newark Liberty International Airport, one of the busiest of the 3 New York City airports. Tuesday alone, they had 33 flights that were canceled, 11 that were delayed. And they also had 36 flights were supposed to land there that were diverted someplace else. Now, if you listen to the transportation secretary, he will tell you about the archaic system that they have to use, which we never really had a problem until when did Trump come in? January 6th or January 20th or some shit?
Yeah.
That's when the problems really started. Now, they did have 90 seconds where the tower lost communication with the planes. It freaked out a lot of people. A lot of those people are on leave right now because of it. They took trauma leave, which you get 45 days. I mean, this is a highly stressful job. And again, it's less about it's less about, you can just see with this shot here, you got planes landing, you got planes taxiing, you got planes at the gate. You need staffing for this.
Oh yeah, it's controlled chaos.
Yeah, and these guys are really well trained at chaos, but you can't have somebody doing 3 people's jobs or even 2 people's jobs.
Yeah.
The industry's finding out really quickly that flights are being less full. The passengers are just a little bit more careful about, I would say, in particular, flying through Newark. I mean, to me, it's a little bit terrifying.
Well, Newark or Reagan Airport, I would not feel real comfortable flying out of there.
Not at night, that's for sure. And again, then they want to blame the military. Hey, I don't know if these are generals and who these generals think they are flying these helicopters like they have priority when they want to talk about Trump and his staff taking Suburbans to get where they're going. So
that's Biden's fault. Blame Biden.
It's finger pointing. It doesn't really help anything other than to say it's not my fault. And again, Thursday, I think they're going to come out with a new system to like fix everything, which I'm sure is related to Starlink and Musk, somebody else that can't really be trusted. So
yeah, because it's very easy to tap into. It's not a very secure system.
Correct.
So I know that Verizon had a contract to update that system. I don't know what's going on with that lawsuit, but there was a lawsuit between them and Starlink. So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know.
Well, Starlink is the preferred choice of everybody, of course. And just one closing thing on the airport: the Real ID is supposed to go into effect tomorrow. But
you've bought some time though.
They are going to extend it. So even if you don't have Real ID, you will be able to fly. You just have to go into a different line. They'll take you someplace else and really give you good checking out.
Yeah.
So if you want to avoid that and maybe deportation, you might want to get your Real ID. And that
Probably
was something. Real ID was passed by Congress in 2005.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's 20 years to get this shit done. I don't know.
Biden's fault.
Totally Biden's fault. He was around through some of that for sure. And then just to move on to some of the cruelty stuff. This came out just in the last hour. I can't get that going. Well, this is kind of my feeling on what they're doing. The Supreme Court came out today, and they are going to allow Trump. They're going to allow him to continue to ban people transgender from the military and to filter them out of the military, which does violate the Constitution. It violates the original court order. I know the Supreme Court stepped in to allow it as this continues to go through the lower courts. They're going to allow them to take effect of banning transgender in the service. Again, it just keeps coming back to this cruelty that they just have. You have to have somebody to put down, or you're just not feeling all that, I guess.
Well, why would you want to run off people that have made the sacrifice to join and serve? And again, we talked about this before, probably knowing that they're going to have to deal with more ignorance and bullshit than the average recruit. Why would you filter those people out? That makes no sense to me.
Well, and many of them were in combat. Many of them have done their time. Many of them transitioned while they were in the service.
Yeah. And again, it's at the whims of a draft dodging coward.
Yeah. Mr. Bone Spurs. Then he tries to make it personal. So he said sexual identity is harmful to readiness and conflicts with the soldier's commitment to an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, even in one's personal life.
That's ridiculous.
And offensive.
It is offensive. Yet he pardoned that one dude, that SEAL team guy who was accused of war crimes. Pardoned him because that's very honorable, and you know.
And really all of the January 6th people as well.
Oh yeah.
This just goes along with this is I'm going to pop up Riley Gaines. Of course, she had a big press conference with Bondi. Just talking about, this was the woman, she was supposed to speak at Portland State University, which is in Oregon. She was the person that was a swimmer who lost to a transgender swimmer. She took 5th place. She was a 12-time NCAA All-American swimmer. I think she had a pretty nice career in college. I'm sure she got money to go to school, and maybe move on. I don't know why you're looking back. We've talked about this.
Seriously, you're telling basketball stories.
500,000, people in collegiate sports, and you have 8 people that are trans trying to play women's sports, and that's what the hill we're going to die on. The nice part was, and maybe she is trying to stay relevant. The nice part was
Probably.
There were several people that were arrested. A lot of people came out to support the trans community, and nobody wants to listen to this woman. And if Bondi has that kind of time to come out and just discriminate against people because that's how Trump likes it, then again, I find that she's the biggest DEI hire that we've had.
Oh, for real. And, she got her money's worth, $25,000, and look what she got.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
So, I mean, it's right up there with RFK. We're going to treat this measles problem, which is turning into a giant ordeal. Wants them to look into some vitamins. You guys got any vitamins?
Yeah, get those vitamins. So, yeah, the measles are here. They're here in St. Louis.
Yes, I saw that. You sent that to me yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that they can give you a timeline as to where you might have been. Now, if you were here in this 6-hour time frame, take a look for some spots if you're not inoculated, type of thing.
Yeah. So
pretty crazy.
One more thing to worry about.
Yeah. And something that we didn't think we really had to worry about. Just to reiterate, the American Medical Association does have a YouTube channel to give updates on any outbreaks and actual numbers, since the CDC, by Trump's command, is not allowed to keep us in the loop and let us know what's going on with your health in and around your cities. But the AMA, again, not on their website, but they do have a YouTube page that you can find that information. I think it's super helpful. Very helpful stuff. Yeah. So that is all the takeaway. I did find an interesting article about a woman that was in the government with H.W. Bush, and she talked about $21 trillion that was set aside for unauthorized building, which she just couldn't find exactly where this money was going. So it literally took her a decade to trace this money down. It was from 1998 to 2015. What she found was that they're making all kinds of underground bases across the U.S. I think she said there's 170 bases across the U.S. Most of it is in case of some kind of catastrophic event, not necessarily a nuclear war. Nobody's talking about that per se, though we know you're going to get the government officials out first. And I know that they have bunkers to go to. It seems to make sense. You want to have some form of government left if you have that type of thing. But this concerns me. This was Catherine Austin Fitts, who did work under H.W. Bush. But I find this concerning because you're looking at catastrophic events. That could be due to climate change. That could be due to mishandling of, titanium, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a direct attack from somebody, that these people will go underground and kind of leave us here. Seems a little concerning.
Well, the wealthy have been doing that on their own. They've been building their little luxury bunkers where they can, live out the apocalypse while the rest of us just, get vaporized or however we're going out. But
yeah.
But like Gene always said, you know what? You better keep an eye on your head of security.
Hire me, he says.
Yep.
And what are you doing? I think some of the people's comments were, what are these people going to be eating once the food runs out, type of thing. And to Gene's point, yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, how do you think this is going to work out? You're one person, that they get rid of you, and everybody that's left gets everything that's there. So, you better have a relative that's got your back or something. So we'll see.
Yeah. Or, maybe we could all just work to, maybe fix this planet. So maybe something like that doesn't happen. But you know what? Why would you want to do that?
Just seems like a lot of money. I know we're putting $1 trillion into military now so that we can have the strongest army in the world, even though we already spend the most, more than anybody ever could.
But, that's what bin Laden said. This country, the U.S. will bring itself down. And, he was not wrong. We're really in the process of doing that. You saw that the Chinese official who was saying, you people need a revolution. You have been sold a bill of goods. These oligarchs that you have voted for, that you've put in power, they steal from you and you say thank you. He's like, you can't blame China. This is on you. You put these people in, you let them do it, and you need to fix it.
Yeah. And we're letting the policies be. I mean, that's the issue. Nobody's necessarily coming out. Though I did have my
well, Chuck Schumer wrote a very strongly worded letter.
We will win.
God.
I did. And we talked about this, I think, on Saturday, because there was supposed to be a rally. We talked about that, a small local one, but my mail carrier couldn't find it. And they had also seen it was supposed to be on Cherokee. It was the same listing that I saw, but there was really no follow through. So she said today, if you know and you find, let us know, because she has a lot of people that want to come down through the USPS.
Yeah.
And want to get out and be heard. So we definitely have to do a better job of kind of organizing on that end, so that anybody that wants to come out has the ability to come out. And that's what it's going to take, as we keep saying.
Yeah. I mean, the first two were pretty well attended, pretty well organized. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what has happened, but yeah, we need to get it together so people know. Yeah. Can't show up if you don't know.
For sure. And the May Day would have been a great day. It was International Workers' Day. But again, it just was not very well organized, which was kind of a problem. So we'll keep looking and keep letting people know. I, for one, told her I'd be happy to join her and her postal mates, because it affects all of us. They're feeling it right now, in particular, just with the cuts and the non-hires and the privatization theory of the USPS. So. Let's hope that's something that gets kicked down the road and just goes away. We need our USPS.
And again, that was written into the Constitution. This is not set up to be a moneymaker.
That's right. It was a service, not a business. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. The Prime Minister Carney from Canada was in town today. I think he met with Trump in the Oval Office. I don't think he came here to lick boots. I think he was pretty stern. I think he had a really good message for Trump. I think he was very polite, but also persistent in his message, which is Canada's not for sale. He compared it to Trump, saying that, you have this Oval Office, which is amazing. And I know you visited Buckingham Palace. Those are two examples of places that are not for sale. Canada's the same thing. They're not interested. And Trump's softening in that, they're our allies and our friends and all this happy crappy, but he just can't process, and maybe you're right about the dementia, but he just can't process the fact that their wood's harder than us. We don't have hardwood like Canada.
Sorry, Trump, your wood is not that hard.
Yeah, don't take it personally. It's because there's many factors, right? I mean, look where Canada's located compared to some of our national forests. They have different climate. They have different temperatures. That's how their wood is so amazing. And they have lots of it. Now you have home builders here that are saying, hey, pull up the sign because we're not building. There's really no need here. And that's going to put a lot of construction workers out of business. And part of that is he said, hey, if he really wants us to start growing our own oaks, I'll plant them today, but I'll see you in 200 years.
Yeah.
It's just not a sustainable or rational or reasonable side to take. I mean, Trump's just kind of out of his mind with that.
No, well, I recently listened to an interview with a Canadian official who basically said, Canada is hosting the G7, right? And Canada has free trade agreements with all of those countries. So they don't need us.
Yeah. We don't have to attend. And Trump's trying to get Putin in the door.
Yeah, that's not happening.
He's been pushing it during his first term in particular. And why? Everybody sees him as a war criminal.
Well, because, Trump is Putin's agent. Allegedly.
Like you said, it's not going to happen. I think the Canadian people have stood pretty firm, much like Australia with their labor vote. They're not going to support this kind of stuff. We're the best example of what not to do.
Yeah, and they, unlike us, they actually paid attention.
Well, we paid attention too. I just really think that the numbers just didn't quite jive.
Yeah, no, that was definitely very fishy.
Should that have gotten people on the streets immediately?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
But
maybe it would have if the Democrats had actually spoken up like Trump did. Trump incited a fucking insurrection
immediately, yep.
immediately. And why the Democrats didn't at least open an inquiry, I don't know. And again, they're putting it on Kamala Harris now that she was the only one that could have done it. But come on, you had a whole political
Legally,
party.
she was the only one, but she certainly could have had support where they were like, "Hey, this doesn't seem right." Again, day after, week after, she's in total shock.
Yeah,
As were a lot of us.
a lot of the numbers did not add up, and you had like people that are very well versed in,
Analytics.
election mathematics and statistical probabilities, and all of that stuff, saying no, these numbers are not quite right. In fact, they're very wrong. Something is not, this is not above board, and it was just bypassed. And some of these people tried to spin it as saying, well, we take the high road, we accept. That's what they wanted us to do. Yeah. I mean, how many times are you going to wear that kick me sign and bend over?
And expect not to be kicked, because it happens every time.
Yeah. And, meanwhile, Trump is still bitching about the 2020 election. It's still going on. So, yeah, for the Democrats to have not gotten together and said, no, we're not going to accept this, we want it looked into. And it just emboldens them. I mean, they're already taking steps now to, suppress votes for the midterms if,
For sure.
if we actually have them. So it just, that still bothers me.
They, they tried to do the same thing as we talked about in Wisconsin for that Supreme Court seat. Finally, today or last night, it came out that that Republican will not be winning that Supreme Court seat.
Yeah, sit down and shut up.
60,000 votes or make 60,000 people come back in order to show that they are them. It's just not. That's like trying to get due process for 1 million people. Okay, that's not happening.
Not happening. It's just, it's ridiculous.
It is, and that's just a small little fire that he put out, and that went on since the election in November. So look how long that took just to tell this guy who's a complete asshat to sit down. You lost.
Yeah, you lost. You're a loser.
Yeah, you are a giant loser. So at least the courts are holding firm. I do feel like the legislators are starting, at least on one side, to get a little bit more of a backbone. They are supporting their veterans, which is where a lot of these cuts are coming from. That's an easy one. That's low-hanging fruit for these Republicans. We need to get back to where you could have that discussion, and if it makes sense, both sides could agree on it. We just have been going down party line for too long. And as somebody that supports a lot of Democratic policy, I'm willing to listen. But if it's ridiculous, I'm not giving.
Right.
And we're in the ridiculous zone. Half this stuff. I mean, all these cuts are just really air quality in national parks. You already cut the work staff from national parks.
None of these make sense. It's just a hollowing out of our quality of life. For
sure. That's a great way of putting it. And then they just want to say, "Oh, these guys in the national parks, that is that even a job?" It's again, we go back to insulting people as if that their work doesn't matter because they're not splitting the atom or a surgeon or a firefighter or whatever. Not good enough.
Or a $1 billion real estate developer.
Yeah, which he never was until he started stealing our money.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy ran a casino into the ground. How do you
do it?
House always wins. How did you manage to lose?
I mean, stakes. The list goes on of what this guy couldn't get right. I mean,
yeah, the Trump Foundation, Trump University. I mean, you talk about Mr. Can't Get Right. I mean, this guy's the poster boy. Let's see, convicted felon. Let's
34 counts. Yeah, that was a big one, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll just kind of have to see where they're willing to stop, or the people are willing to come up to meet them and make this stop. To your point earlier, that woman is over $700,000. Hendricks, the white lady who called out the autistic 5-year-old black kid. So nice to know that people are still willing to give, but the cause is really awful.
And it wasn't GoFundMe. It was a similar type of fundraising site, but run by a Christian organization.
Is that right?
Because nothing's more Christian than white supremacy, and bullying a little kid. That just makes me sick. It really does. And I hope, I hope that little boy's family, I hope they sue her.
Well, you told me after the fact that the ACLU raised money for his family, correct?
They did, yeah. And they in fact, I had found out about it before I could donate to it, and they had shut it down. I think they shut it down at like 400,000.
Okay.
Which is going to go into a trust for that kid.
Nice.
So yeah, but it's so offensive.
It's apples and oranges. You're absolutely right.
But again, this is what Trump has enabled. These people, they're out of the woodwork. They're proud. They're proud to be racist. Yet, if you call them out as being racist, they get all offended. You can't have it both ways. You know what? You want to march around with your little swastika banner? Don't cover your face. Own it.
That's right.
You want to goose step down the street? Have at it. I'll throw a can of soup at you, and I'm sure a lot of other people will, but at least you're honest about who you are.
Yeah, for sure. Be proud of the crap you're putting out there. I mean, it's just too much that you put it out there, but then you don't support it. You want to hide behind something. And I think that the recommendation was the people that gave to her fund, go send whatever it was, put their names up, list them if you're super proud, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Oh, give, send, go is what it is. And you're right. It was kind of a Christian affiliation that just isn't finding the
not
mark.
Very Christian. I'm pretty sure that wasn't something that Jesus would have been on board with. But what do I know?
Free speech. Come on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we should all have that kind of free speech then, if that's how it's going to be. But why so hateful? And it is just what it is. I mean, they're taking things away. They're trying to pit people against one another. And none of these policies seem to make sense for the greater good.
No, they don't. But this is what Putin wants. This is what every enemy of the United States wants. They want to see us divided and tearing each other apart.
Well, and Putin wants to keep it going. He can't afford, apparently, to end that war. So he's just got to keep things going as long as he can.
And he doesn't want to go nuclear, but if he has to, that's what he
better
said.
not. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's because that's the end.
Not a thing. And as we talked about in the last show, there's a lot of nations that have that capability. It's something we're trying not to do. I know Trump wants to build up his soldier base, like we're going to send people overseas and they're going to start digging trenches and start shooting off, from their tanks and stuff. It's just not how it is.
Yeah, dude, you're fighting an outdated war. That's not how it's done anymore. But Trump is just astonishingly ignorant of history, of facts, of anything that has to do with world history, politics, anything. He's extremely ignorant.
Yeah, and I would like to hope that maybe that's part of the dementia issue, because he went to some decent schools. I mean, how is he so uneducated on so many topics? It's amazing.
Well, he's the first one to say, "I'm not a reader. Show me pictures." I think when you go to the Wharton School, I think you have to read. I don't think they're going to put everything in a little picture for you.
Well, I don't know who took that test to get in there or who got him through it, but it doesn't seem likely the way he is now. Yeah.
I'm sure Daddy paid to get him through. And, one of his professors said this was the dumbest student I've ever seen here. So I find it shockingly hard to believe, but not really.
Yeah, not that hard to believe. I mean, we see it every day. It's just we're seeing too much of them as part of the issue, if you ask me.
Way too much.
Too much.
I can't unsee that neck.
That was pretty bad. That was probably one of the worst ones I could find.
It was not good.
No, but he's not really good, so he kind of goes in lockstep with it.
Very bad. Very
Extremely bad.
Unfair.
I did see that India, I guess, launched some kind of attack against Pakistan.
They're at it again.
They are at it again. Meanwhile, Trump's just kind of, where was he at? He was at some kind of
Golfing?
luncheon. No, they
Crypto
actually
conference?
set him somewhere. It was after lunchtime, so he was just kind of asleep at this switch at that point. I mean, I don't know. Talk about a low energy guy. I don't know what happened when Biden left the White House, but he seems to have a lot more energy than this guy on his best day.
Well, if he's not hopped up on Adderall,
yeah, or
he's got nothing.
Or his buddy on ketamine, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's the direction most of us should be looking to go, because that's where it's at, buddy.
Vitamin K. That's right, baby.
Yeah, I just I don't know how we get on a level playing field with these guys, because they're just not listening to reality, and they just have an agenda. We have to keep going back to the 2025 to see exactly what that agenda is, but it's enough already.
Yeah, it's not good. And they've had a lot of time to put this together too. They put a lot of thought into it, and these people hate democracy. They hate the middle class. They hate everything that America was built on. They shit all over the Constitution. They think that this is a world for Christian nationalists and white people and billionaires. That's their vision.
Sounds like a terrible place to live, and it sounds very un-American, and I don't think that the majority of people would ever support that type of thing. But sometimes money can be blinding, so it's just a matter of, hey, I could be that rich someday. Not bloody likely.
Well, and the American public is pretty easily hoodwinked. I mean, you look at some of these idiots on Facebook. I mean, I got rid of Facebook because
you did.
It's a fucking cesspool, and only old people are on it anyway. The kids will laugh at you if you say you're on Facebook, but people are so easily duped, and they took full advantage of it. The powers that be that wanted this are very good at what they're doing. They took, they amplified their propaganda, spread it far and wide with help from Russia, with help from China, and look at us now. It's a fucking shit show.
Mainly Russia. I mean, that just was like, if you saw some of their phoning farms that they just put up just information, they were super smart about it. They'd send Black Lives Matter to a white supremacist rally. It just set people off, and that was great for the media, right? Because who doesn't want to see that kind of stuff going on?
Oh, the media eats it up. I mean, the corporate media is, they're going along for the ride. They're loving it.
Pretty crazy. But it sells, I guess it sells advertising. I was going to say papers, but nobody reads the paper anymore.
I do.
I do. Well, yes. It's delivered to my house every day too, but we're not talking about that.
Well, and it's interesting. I mean, you even look now, the paper here, I wouldn't say it's not a concern. It's not like the Wall Street Journal, but it's not really, under its present ownership now. It is not what I would call a liberal paper, but if you look at like the op-ed section, they're on board with speaking truth to power, calling this shit out. And if you look at the letters to the editor, people are writing in and they're publishing them. People are not having this.
Yeah. That should be part of your happy ending, because that's pretty amazing. And you're right. I check it every day. People are writing in, and you're right. The editorial board at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch does a pretty good job, even though their one-time Pulitzer Award-winning paper is owned by Lee Media, I guess. And we're also going to have to see it. I think it's amazing for the paper, though there's so few people that get it, as me being one of them. But also in the local news media, this is where the stories like we heard about the raid ICE put in Oklahoma on that woman and her two daughters that took all their stuff. It has to get back to the roots of journalism, which starts in your local city, in your local township.
Well, yeah, and there's still a lot of really good investigative journalism. I mean, The Intercept is an excellent source.
Yeah, absolutely. Mother Jones, Tom Hartman, The Nation. I mean, there's sources out there. You just have to want to read it. And I read a lot on the international press as well. And I will read stuff that's right-wing supported, just because I want to find what the basis of their thinking is. And I'm happy to disagree, but I can't disagree unless I understand their perspective, which is important. And I'm not saying
I think so too.
And
I
I'm
would
not saying
agree.
they're wrong about everything, but how they sometimes the breadcrumbs lead them to a certain place just doesn't really jive. And maybe that comes from lack of education or lack of want to be educated or
Lack of
hate.
critical thinking or just hate. Yeah, I mean, they get these people so amped up. I mean, they sit there in a rage. Again, like, I say this all the time, but who would want to sit there and watch Fox News and be enraged all day, have, your fight or flight instinct going and have that cortisol pumping through your body? It's not healthy. And just why? Why
Somebody
would you
might
do
ask,
that?
somebody might ask you that too, Billy. Why do you let your brother come on twice a week, 3 times a week, and really upset you?
Huh. Kind of a good question. If you weren't paying me, I would ditch this gig in a minute, but keep those checks coming, buddy.
All right, fair enough. Don't give all my secrets away.
Well, honestly, I mean, I got to earn those meals you make. So,
Well, fair enough. And I felt like Gene always said it is some pretty good therapy for us. I think we all kind of need to put it out there. You ingest it, now you got to put it back out there, or else it eats you up. And it's a lot.
mhm.
These distractions today that we talked about, from Alcatraz to the tariffs on international films, right down to all these cuts, which affect everybody. None of it's really positive, but it's all information you need to know. So that when people start to gaslight you, which happens all the time,
Mhm.
anywhere on Twitter, anywhere on Fox News, Newsmax, any of these places are kind of giving you kernels of truth, maybe to kind of give you their perspective. Check your sources, do your own research, think for yourself, come to your own conclusion. Again, we
Yeah.
can disagree on most things, but let's try and find that 2 or 3 things we can agree on.
Yeah. And don't censor yourself. Don't silence yourself. Again, call your senators, call your representatives. Whether they answer or not, leave a message, write a letter to the editor, send an email to these people. I
Yeah,
mean, speak up and speak out because, the way things are going, we may not have that chance at some point. So we
that's
have to
right.
do it now, and don't self-censor yourself and don't live in fear of these people. These are bullies. They count on you being afraid. They count on you, us collectively not pushing back. And
Sure.
when we do, I mean, Trump always backed. I didn't know about that. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't say that.
Yeah, he is good like that. And
I
you're
mean,
absolutely right.
he's the fakest tough guy there is.
And strength in numbers. They generally back down when they feel, like you said, you're not going to eat that crap sandwich, even if it's toasted. I'm
Hmm.
still not eating it. And if my
Yeah.
buddy joins me and my buddy's buddy joins me, now all of a sudden we've started a group of people that aren't eating it.
Well, yeah, and especially you look at our generation, we're the sandwich generation. So we're not only worried about our parents, okay, so they're cutting off Medicaid or Medicare.
Cutting Social
Uh,
Security 20%.
Social Security is being cut, Meals on Wheels being taken away. I mean, so we've got to worry about that, but we've also got to worry about our kids,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, student loan debt or the price of college or, the job market. So, I mean, we're getting it from both ends. So we have to stick together. Even the ones of us that got duped or just, fucking dickheads and decided to vote for this guy, you need to realize you've got skin in the game too. So, you want to keep your Gen X status and not be relegated to boomer, stick with us and stand up.
Yeah, and you made the point last time that again, it doesn't necessarily affect you until it's on your plate. We've
Hmm.
been through the dementia. We've been through having to take care of an older parent. Uh, I would do anything, obviously, for her, but you're kind of limited. I mean, you need some kind of government help. Social Security did help in that process, but unless you have
Secondly,
room to have them live with you, and even that's not always an end all be all. I would have done that too, and we did try that. But as things evolve and people get older, we had great respect for mom, and we would do anything we could. But that's not always the case. Not every person feels that way. There has to be some kind of safety net for those people that aren't getting taken care of. How many people did we see? And it wasn't even memory care. Let's just call it assisted living or independent living for that matter. How many
hmm
times did you see family walking into those places? I mean, it was very sad and kind of depressing. Not that the facility wasn't nice. I
yeah,
hated even calling it a facility, but they had what they needed for older residents. But you just didn't have a whole lot of family help, and
no,
even help with just showing up.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah.
And, and props to all the people that don't have the resources to have their loved one in a place like that are trying to juggle a job and maybe their own kids.
Yeah.
And, take care of a parent with dementia. It's a tall order, and it's not easy. And it's a threat that, we're not even addressing. In fact, we're rapidly eating away at that. I mean, Jesus Christ, the fucking president, it seems to be demented.
And we cut the
So,
funding for dementia and Alzheimer research.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
You also had a Harvard guy who was one of the leaders in research for Alzheimer's, and he was in an ICE detention facility.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Get it together, people.
Seriously, what? Yeah. WTF.
Exactly. I'm going to use your editorial page as a happy ending. I thought that was super. I did see a bit of happy news. Well, the old Pittsburgh airport, where the old Pittsburgh airport was, they took this landfill and they turned it into a solar farm. So now
nice.
the current Pittsburgh airport is now totally energy independent.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I thought was pretty fantastic. Pittsburgh isn't the sunniest place. They don't have the
You could say that.
sunny days, unlike Colorado at 317. Pittsburgh, partly cloudy is what you're going to hear.
Less sunny days than Seattle.
Yes, which is amazing. But enough to have solar farms to be able to run a major airport, Pittsburgh International Airport. So props to the people of Pittsburgh. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Oh, I love that old airport. I love how you could go out to like the edge of the runway and watch those planes come in like right over you. You could feel the heat coming off them. That was very cool.
Resurrection Cemetery too. They just came right over the top at night. It was exhilarating.
You weren't supposed to be there, but
whatever.
The
Listen, we weren't
statute of
throwing
limitations.
rocks at the planes. We were just observing and taking in the rush of it. Maybe a few beers involved. Who cares?
Maybe a few beers, yeah. So, but yeah,
we had enough common sense not to fuck with aviation. Just enjoy it. So, anyway, I appreciate you letting me go through my laundry list today, as always. Hopefully, we can lighten things up for Thursday a little bit. We can't control that.
Who knows? We'll see what's coming. Every day is, a fresh slice of hell. So,
oh my God, yes. But
time will tell.
We're gonna try and make it work for us. So let's just keep on keeping on, Billy.
That's all we can do.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go for today. It was good talking to you, and I will.
All right, you too. Great job.
Picking you up for hockey later.
All right, that sounds good. There's my happy ending.
All right, buddy. See ya.